You know, when you go up a hill like that right there, you take one step forward, two back, you're not getting anywhere. You know, and every day it gets lower.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, and how are you? How are things in Payson?
Payson is nice
I
today.
like Payson. Payson's, it's a fun place to visit. You want to live there.
Okay, first coffee days.
We don't need to bring another chair here. I forgot to bring a blanket.
Do you mind doing the invocation tonight?
No.
Okay.
She brought the technical documents for the virals, the two towers. Right, that's just a reprint. The designs are reprints. But there were some minor changes to the lease over the course of this week. And we have the red lines and Phyllis is presenting all that to you. But anything material about it was all about things like notice. Like the town wants to kick these guys off the property. We need to give them 90 days, not 60 days, or whatever it was. But it was all about so she'll go through it one time.
Okay. And everything else, dollars and cents, everything else should stay the same.
Yes.
Okay.
How you doing? You got your stuff on the screen there.
Okay.
Jamie will get it fired up. It's in a PDF format.
Excellent. Excellent. She'll help me get it.
You can make it
We're
good
good
like
to
that.
go. Thank you.
That's okay. Oh, yeah, she's at the back, down there talking, hiding behind people.
Okay. Good. We are. We're jiggling right along.
As soon as we get all the malcontents.
Hey. How you doing, Howard?
I'm doing good. I like your redneck 24/7 hat. Isn't that cool?
All right. Veterans against scumbags. This is a veteran. He's against scumbags. This is another
How
veteran.
you doing?
I'm good.
All right. Cool. All right. We'll grab you a seat. And we'll be firing up in a moment. Well, hello. All right. All right. Cool.
How we doing? Fine.
Miss
Got
Lewis.
some new names.
Miss Lewis, Jamie. We just had someone from the audience come up and hand us some stuff. Should that go through the clerk's office first?
She's not asking that it be put on the
She just handed it to us, and so I thought I would ask Miss Lewis, because Miss Lewis knows.
Yeah, but
She
she's not
really
asking
does.
for it to be on the agenda, are you? She's not asking for it to be on the agenda, Jamie. She's just passing it out.
She just handed it to us,
When did this come out?
so I thought I would let you know. Oh,
Put it under executive correspondence.
okay. Oh,
Want a copy of it?
can I have one copy back?
She's saying that you just
All right.
handed it to her and he's wanting to know if it's on the agenda.
No, this was just an opinion. I wanted to hear from council, and I want to make sure that the mayor had it in front of him while he goes through it. You know,
Good. Okay. All right.
Go ahead and light them fire.
File that one.
You devil. Okay, back to what I was looking at.
All right.
Did you get one of these?
Yes.
Did you get two of these?
No, I got one.
Okay.
You probably got two because the last one in line there was an extra.
I talked to the police chief, and
Because I have two hands.
they really liked it.
They've, heard nothing but good. Excellent. Poppy Days. Oh, yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure. Okay, we're at 5:59. And hopefully Phyllis will go over any of the red line stuff that we need. So.
I should have come and got it earlier.
All right, it's 6 o'clock straight up. Fellas ready?
Yep. You ready, Guy?
We are missing Councilmember Hatch here.
Where did
For
she
a
go?
moment.
Yeah. She went out the back door. She went out
Okay.
the back door.
Okay, you folks ready? It's 6 o'clock straight up. We'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. Please rise and remove your hats for the invocation.
Our Father who art in heaven, we humbly bow our heads before this council meeting, thankful for the callings that we have been given to go ahead and represent our town in the matters that govern it. We ask that thou would go ahead and give us the discernment we need to figure out the matters and to help our town move forward. We are thankful for our military who give us these rights and privileges to go ahead and self-govern. We're thankful for their volunteerism and their efforts. We're thankful for the others who volunteer to go ahead and serve our town and to go ahead and serve our community. We also need to think of our graduates this year as they prepare to graduate this month from high school, that they would be ready to come into our world, to go ahead and find jobs and to go ahead and continue their education. We ask for these favors and blessings. In the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Pledge of allegiance.
I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. May we have the roll call?
Good evening, Mayor and council members. I'll start with Councilmember McKee. Here. Councilmember Turner.
Here.
Councilmember Hatch.
Here.
Councilmember Wojcik appears to be absent. Councilmember Best.
Here.
Vice Mayor Croft.
Here.
And Mayor Marley.
Here. Introductions, presentations, and proclamations. First, item 2A is a proclamation declaring May 22nd and 23rd, 2015 as Poppy Days, sponsored by the American Legion Auxiliary. Do you have the microphone, Miss Lewis? Whereas America is the land of freedom, preserved and protected willingly and freely by citizen soldiers, and whereas millions who have answered the call to arms have died on the field of battle, and whereas a nation at peace must be reminded of the price of war and the debt owed to those who have died in war, and whereas the red poppy has been designated as a symbol of sacrifice of lives in all wars, and whereas the American Legion Auxiliary has pledged to remind America annually of this debt through the distribution of the memorial flower, and Now therefore, I, Chris Marley, Mayor of the Town of Chino Valley, do hereby proclaim May 22nd and 23rd, 2015 as Poppy Days in Chino Valley, Arizona, and ask that all citizens pay tribute to those who have made the ultimate sacrifice in the name of freedom by wearing the memorial poppy on this day. Liz, did you have anything to say?
No, just say thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
You have another one to do too.
They have a nice evening.
Yeah, I gotta do
Just hold on to it.
Good night. We got a lot of work to do.
Our next proclamation is a proclamation declaring May 2015 as Mental Health Month, sponsored by the West Yavapai Guidance Clinic. Do we have anyone here from West Yavapai? Yes, ma'am. All right, I'll go ahead and read this then. And then, do you have a few words afterwards?
Just a couple.
Okay. Proclamation, Mental Health Month, May 2015. Whereas mental health is essential to everyone's overall health and well-being, and whereas Americans experience times of difficulty and stress in their lives, and whereas prevention is an effective way to reduce the burden of mental health conditions, and whereas there is a strong body of research that supports specific tools that all Americans can use to better handle challenges and protect their health and well-being, and whereas mental health conditions are real and prevalent in our nation, and whereas with early and effective treatment, those individuals with mental health conditions can recover and lead full, productive lives, and whereas each business, school, government agency, healthcare provider, organization, and citizen shares the burden of mental health problems and has a responsibility to promote mental wellness and support prevention efforts. Now, therefore, I, Chris Marley, Mayor of the Town of Chino Valley, do hereby proclaim May 2015 as Mental Health Month in Chino Valley, Arizona, and call upon the citizens, government agencies, public and private institutions, businesses, and schools in Chino Valley to recommit our community to increasing awareness and understanding of mental health, the steps our citizens can take to protect their mental health, and the need for appropriate and accessible services for all people with mental health conditions before they reach stage 4. And ma'am, what's your name?
Great, thanks. My name is Tina Blake, and I'm the Development Coordinator for West Yavapai Guidance Clinic. And we are very honored to have a facility that opened up maybe about a year ago on Road 3 North. And I invite you, we have a lot of different programming throughout the month, to visit our website at wygc.org and participate in mental health awareness for you, your family, friends, neighbors, and the great community of Chino Valley. Thank you.
Our next item is call to the public. Call to the public is an opportunity for the public to address the council concerning a subject that is not on the agenda. Public comment is encouraged. Individuals are limited to speak for 3 minutes. Total time for call to the public may be up to 30 minutes per meeting. Council action taken as a result of public comment will be limited to directing staff to study the matter, scheduling the matter for further consideration and decision at a later date, or responding to criticism. Do we have anyone for call to the public? Okay. No. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Remember, you have 3 minutes, okay?
All right. A few years ago, I just got done reading that. A
2 years ago.
You need to speak into the mic.
My name's Robert Leahy. I grew up here in Chino Valley.
You also need to address your comments to the council, not to
To
the
the
public.
council. All right.
I've just got done reading this handout, and not sure if that's official or sanctioned by the city, but there's some sad misconceptions in here. A few years ago, I was invited to a dinner at a friend's house, and I was told that there was going to be a politician there who had been born in Phoenix and had moved up here and was the mayor, and I was prepared to hate the evening. And I met that politician and found out that he was a veteran like myself, that he was conservative, that he shared many of the same values that I did, and that he was a hell of a good man. I don't see any of that represented in here. I do know he has a sarcastic wit and everything in here that is supposedly self-aggrandizing that he wrote about himself is just done in tongue-in-cheek and the humor, and even the sarcastic quote on the bottom should have been readily apparent to most people with any sense of propriety or rectitude. This is just silliness, and they're way off the mark.
Sir. Thank you. Anyone else for call to the public? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Annie, and I live in Chino Meadows, too. This is not a question or concern. I just want to say good job on the website, making it more user-friendly. It's like 20 years improved, and I really appreciate it. And also on the Center Street extension, because I think that's a great improvement also. That's all.
Okay, thank you. Any others for call to the public? Okay, call to the public is now closed. Response to the public. Response to the public is an opportunity for the mayor to inform the public about how town officials addressed matters raised during call to the public at a previous meeting. At a previous meeting, one of our residents made a statement against industry in the town and in support of taxing certain business operations. And for those of you who weren't here, it was somewhat tongue-in-cheek. He said that instead of bringing industry in, he said we should find a way to tax the meth labs. Well, I spoke with our finance officer, and he said that meth labs are a wholesale business, and so we want to encourage our meth dealers to get a Chino Valley business license and a transaction privilege tax license, and then we can tax their operations. I'd encourage them to see Chief Wynn or any of our police officers and ask them where they can get a transaction privilege tax license and a business license for their meth dealing, and we'll see where that goes too. Current event summaries and reports. This item is for information only. The mayor, any council member, or town manager may present a brief summary or report of current events, or ask a staff member to provide the same. A presentation on information requested by the mayor and council will be made and questions answered. No action will be taken. Are there any reports on this side of the desk? No. Are there any? Yes, sir.
The Citizens Committee has been canceled. We will resurrect it again in September. I don't think we had time to advertise it enough, so we didn't get the number of people we needed, but we will try again in September.
Okay, so that's the Citizens Academy, and you'll try again in September. Okay, any other reports on this side? Okay, continuing onwards. I do not have a report this week. Status report by Town Manager Robert Smith. Do you have any?
Yes, sir. I do have some good news. Ruth, are you here? I'd like to cede my time to Miss Ruth Mayday. She's our Director of Development Services. She has an announcement on the EDA grant.
Okay.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. You'll be pleased to hear that last week we were notified Thursday afternoon late that the EDA has issued a non-binding letter of commitment to award the town $1,600,074 to for the improvements at Old Home Manor for the infrastructure for roads, for sewer, and for water. This is in combination with the town funds pledged and the support by APS, and also the $250,000 grant we were awarded from the Arizona Commerce Authority's Rural Economic Development Grant Program. So we still have some paperwork to clean up, a couple of letters that we have to send back, and some things that need to be signed. But I look forward to getting those out as soon as we possibly can and getting this project underway.
Excellent, thank you. Thank you.
And Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Ruth didn't say it, but for every dollar of Chino Valley funds that go into this project, $15.40 are grant dollars that come from somewhere else. So
Okay.
we have a $2 million project with the town only using about $80,000 in its cash.
Excellent, thank you, thank you. It's a good return. Consent agenda. All those items listed below are considered to be routine and may be enacted by one motion. Any council member may request to remove an item from the consent agenda to be considered and discussed separately. Item A, do we have anyone that wishes to remove anything from consent agenda? No? Okay, Ms. Lewis, may we have the item A, please?
Consideration and possible action to accept the April 14, 2015 regular meeting minutes.
I move to accept the April 14, 2015 regular meeting minutes.
All right, do we have a
Second.
second? We have a motion and 2 seconds. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Moving on to action items. Council may vote to recess the public meeting and hold an executive session on any item on this agenda pursuant to ARS 38-431.03A3 for the purpose of discussion or consultation for legal advice with the town attorney. Executive sessions are not open to the public and no action may be taken in executive session. I'm going to go ahead and read item A and then turn the meeting over to Vice Mayor Croft, if that's acceptable to you, Vice Mayor.
Yes.
Item A, consideration and possible action to approve complaint and adopt a resolution filed by Mayor Chris Marley against Councilmember Linda Hatch pursuant to Town Code Chapter 35, Code of Ethics 35.04, Conduct in Public Office. And this has to be handled by Vice Mayor Croft, so I will give you the gavel, sir.
I'm going to read some items. Agenda items A and B deal with complaints of a violation of the Code of Ethics by a council member. Item A was filed by Mayor Morley against Council Member Hatch. Item B was filed by Council Member Hatch against Mayor Morley. Since Mayor Morley is involved in both of these complaints, they were submitted to the Vice Mayor, delivered to the Town Clerk for processing, and placed on the council agenda for action. Code of Ethics violations. At the April 14, 2015 meeting of the Town Council, the council approved action item 7B to establish a procedure for addressing Code of Ethics violations to be codified in Section 3505 Code of Ethics. To ensure that both parties to the process are treated equally, it is essential to have a procedure that provides opportunity for both parties to make their presentation to the council. The following procedure will be utilized in concerning both items A and B. First of all, introduction of the item. I will read the agenda item. Secondly, will be a presentation by the complainant. The complainant will present the complaint. The complainant will have 10 minutes, period. At 9-minute point, I will let the complainant know. They will have 1 minute to wrap up, and I will be keeping time. Step 3, presentation by the respondent. The respondent will respond to the complaint. The respondent will have 10 minutes. I will notify them at 9 minutes. They'll want to have 1 minute to round up. Step 4, additional information by the complainant, 5 minutes with notification at 1 minute. Additional information by the respondent, 5 minutes with notification at 1 minute. When that is completed and they have both had equal time, the council will have an opportunity to discuss the items. They may ask questions for clarification. Then we'll have a council decision. I will read the recommended action and call for a motion to vote on the motion. A yea vote supports the complaint that there is a violation of the Code of Ethics. A nay or no vote does not support the complaint. There are some procedural rules. Number one, all presentations to the council will be made from the podium to the council. A lot of time will be strictly adhered to by both parties to both complaints. Robert Rules of Orders, when a motion is a direct personal or monetary interest to a member and no one else, the member shall not vote. To ensure a fair and balanced process, both parties to both complaints will not be allowed to vote on these complaints. The 5 or 4, since we have one missing, remaining council members shall be the decision makers. I'm going to ask Mayor Morley and Councilmember Hatch to recuse herself. All votes will be roll call votes. They'll be tallied and reported by the town council. Any questions from the council?
No, sir. Do we need to move into the audience?
Would you please move into the audience, those of you that are, and then we'll start the process with the complainant, and then I'll start the timer. When you get to the podium. I'm going to read the agenda item again. Consideration of possible action to approve complaint and adopt resolution filed by Mayor Chris Morley against Councilman Linda Hatch pursuant to Town Code Chapter 35 Code of Ethics, Section 305.04, Conduct in Office. So the complainant, please, I'm going to start the timer as soon as you begin speaking.
You can go ahead if you wish. I wish to address the council on something that has been brewing for quite some time. March 3rd, 2015, I submitted this letter to our vice mayor. While serving on the Chino Valley Magistrate Evaluation Committee with Councilmember Linda Hatch and Pat McKee, I became aware of some information that may have indicated possible wrongdoing or unethical behavior, and specifically influence peddling, or what is commonly called backroom deals. I had no full evidence of this. I just had a suspicion of it, and that's why I went on to the next point. In order to verify or disprove the information, I initiated on February 5th, 2015, a public records request to the town's email system for any emails. How do I scroll that down there, right there? Okay. Oh, okay. Easy enough. In order to verify or disprove the information, I initiated on February 5th, 2015, a public records request to the town's email system for any emails involving Councilmember Hatch and several members of Chino Valley's and Prescott's legislative and judicial communities. The request came up empty, and so I submitted later another email or another records request directly to Councilmember Hatch on February 10th, requesting any emails between her and any Prescott council members pertaining to the court or prosecutorial services. By this time, I had in my possession a number of emails which were public record, and they fell within the parameters of the request. With 4 emails in hand, I was reasonably sure that there were more out there. 7 days passed with no response. I decided to cast a wider net by initiating another records request on February 17th, asking for all correspondence which fell within the parameters of my search between Councilmember Hatch and Councilmember McKee. I also requested emails between Councilmember Hatch and several members of our community. And as you'll notice in the letter, at that time, no response had been received from Councilmember McKee. She did on March 10th let me know that she didn't have any emails that fit the request. But on February 17th and February 23rd, the town clerk's office did receive responses from Councilmember Hatch indicating that no such communications existed. I found this troubling because I already had 4 such communications in my possession at the time. Incidentally, on March 12th, our council received a letter from our town attorney stating that Councilmember Hatch did not have any such records in her possession, as she regularly deletes all emails from her personal email accounts. And this is the letter that we released on April 28th in our town council meeting. Now, I want our council to know I wasn't requesting any personal information. I'm not interested in any disparaging remarks about the mayor. It doesn't matter whatever folks have to say about me. I'm sure I've been called worse. What I wanted was information regarding any possible improprieties between members of the Magistrate Evaluation Committee and the Chino Valley court system, including contracts for prosecutorial services, as well as information regarding the possible undermining of the negotiations between the City of Prescott and the town of Chino Valley as to the purchase of Prescott's water system in Chino Valley. I've asked for this information 3 times over the course of the last couple of months now, and I've been told that it doesn't exist. I tend to think otherwise. I'm asking the council to require that information I requested be provided. As a footnote, on April the 24th, I did receive 5 emails in response to record request 15-2-2, and then on April 27th, I submitted the same records request to City of Prescott and received 7 emails in response to that. These are copies of my records requests. This first one, I used the town system, and it came back, no such records exist. My second request between Councilmember Hatch and any members of the Prescott City Council is the one that I just referred to, 1502-2. And then the third one that I submitted was correspondence between Ms. Hatch and some members of the community and Pat McKee regarding the Prescott Prosecutor's Office. And I have received no response to that. The email string that I received through a third party were 4 emails from Ms. Hatch to Ms. Wilcox, and a Prescott council member. These are just parts of those emails, and I just wanted to show our council that these emails did in fact exist. When I asked for them, I was told they did not exist. The next, if I can get this thing to scroll within the 10-minute period here. And I want our council to understand, you folks have read these emails, I'm sure. The council member from Prescott did a great job answering it, saying, no problem, let's work through the system. I found this interesting. When Ms. Hatch answered, she said, I don't have anything that meets what he is asking for. And if you look down through it, it says that she should charge an hourly rate of $50 an hour. And also, this was sort of interesting. This CC goes to opaque.com. That's one of those addresses where folks can't find out who you are. I always thought that was interesting. I wanted to send it an email and see just whose phone buzzed. Anyway, continuing onward, here's another response from Ms. Hatch. Don't know about any of those requests. I don't use private emails for town business, except when the system was down. And once again, a $50 fee to charge for searching for those. These are some other items from a previous point. Open meeting law, I wrote the City League of Cities and Towns and asked them, I said, you folks train us in open meeting law when we first come into office about using private emails or personal emails, and they said, yes, we do. Open meeting law training is provided when you first come into office. This is out of our council handbook dealing with open meeting law, cell phones, emails. It talks about how when we use use our personal emails, that we're to send a copy to our town's email address. And when we have a public record request, we're supposed to turn those in, even if they're in our personal emails. Continuing onwards, here's my record request from City of Prescott. I used, as you can see, all correspondence, emails, text, letters, handwritten notes between Prescott Councilmember Gene Wilcox and Chino Valley Councilmember Linda Hatch from the same dates that I requested before. And they sent me 7 emails. And as I said, Ms. Hatch provided for me some emails in response to 150202 on April the 24th. I received 5 of them from her, and then on April 27th, I received 7 of them from the City of Prescott. Anyways, it's not a long presentation. I feel that the facts speak for themselves. I'll yield the rest of the time here.
You used 8 minutes, 59 seconds.
As slow as I talk, that was the best I could do. Thank you.
Now's an opportunity for Ms. Hatch. Are you yielding to your attorney, Ms. Hatch?
I am.
Okay. When you
Thanks,
start talking, then I'll...
Thanks, Mr. Vice Mayor. Thank you. I wasn't aware there's procedural rules limiting timeframes. That's new to me. Obviously, the code doesn't have any ordinances now in effect. I'm just noting that for the record. The other thing is Robert's rules, I think it's Rule 454 of the complete section. It does provide or allow for someone who's accused of wrongdoing to have full opportunity for hearing. So I'm just going to note that your procedures are adopted by motion for Robert's rules, and I'm just noting that for the record, just so that it's on the record. Pleased to represent Councilmember Linda Hatch. I prepared a detailed PowerPoint that's going to show you what happened and why she should not be subject to sanctions and why she didn't violate the town ethic code and why there's no penalties for censure and why this shouldn't even be here. First of all, I want to talk about, and this is again my name, Gary Kidd, 125 Grove Avenue is where I practice in Prescott. Let me go ahead and start off. Initially, when the item was presented on the agenda, I was advised that there is a committee meeting between the mayor, the vice mayor, and the city manager to put items on the agenda. If that is the case, there has been participation by somebody who is, the mayor in this case, who has participated on a public interest or a private interest, open meeting law issue. It is a personal issue, and that is the start of our discussion, which is whether or not this process has been fair, or whether or not it's reasonably calculated to allow for due process for Councilmember Hatch, which I think any council member should have. Councilmember Hatch, in performing her duties, did nothing that justifies the proposed actions. At the outset, as a public official, just like all of you, she's entitled to due process, she's entitled to a fair process, and she's entitled to know what the rules are. I don't think the town of Chino Valley, unless I'm mistaken, has ever done a censure. Your code doesn't allow for it. Your code doesn't say anything at all about censure, and certainly the code does not say anything about mandatory injunctions on public records issue, which is what you would have legally in order to order her to do what is being suggested in the resolution. During the course of this presentation, you'll see what happened, the facts. You'll also see our concerns both legally and factually for what you're trying to do to Councilmember Hatch. There was no process in effect, as you know, at the time that she was accused. The other thing that happened is the complaint that was the subject of the mayor's initial action was dated March 3rd, but it didn't show up until the day before the last council meeting. That gives us cause for concern that this process is not intended to be fair for Councilmember Hatch. And indeed, there is no ability on her part right now in code, as we speak, to present or cross-examine or present witnesses. You know, you've got an email from your attorneys saying one particular item, but we have no way to cross-examine those attorneys and put in the rest of the facts which occurred during the course of that particular conversation. And there were 2 conversations that day that Councilmember Hatch had with the attorneys. There's also a billing relating to conversations that the mayor had on February 17th from the attorneys dealing with legal issues pertaining to particular public records. And again, use of those kind of resources in a private capacity are something that we are concerned about, and I wanted to bring to your attention. Councilmember Hatch has been a valuable council member. She's asked difficult questions, and I think what the mayor just showed you is some of those difficult questions. She was the chairperson of the Magistrates Evaluation Committee. During her public hearing evaluation work, she discovered and addressed certain issues that she was concerned about dealing with the IGA that the town of Chino Valley has with Prescott. Items that were of concern to her, and there's a long hearing tape on that particular item, were things like prosecutors not being present for court, people being released from jail on warrants.
Does this have to do with the?
It's the.
Is it?
Yes, sir.
Is it rising to the?
Yes, sir. It was in
email question?
Yes, sir. It was in the emails that were being referred to, and that is the reason she was discussing those with Prescott.
Okay, I'll give you some extra time for my interruption.
Okay. Yeah, that's no problem. I think it's a good question. It was in those original emails that the mayor just showed you. She's concerned about what's going on with money that's being expended by the town of Chino Valley. Excuse me, I used to work in Oro Valley. Town of Chino Valley. And she's concerned about that enough to contact a council member who used to be the city attorney, acting city attorney in Prescott, Jean Wilcoxon, who's now a council member. That's why she called her, because she used to be the attorney. She's also an attorney and has background in legal issues, and she's concerned about the performance of the IGA. She engaged in those emails and raised certain questions. The other thing is, you all know, Councilmember Hatch has raised a number of different issues regarding open meeting law violations. Our concern here is that some of this stuff that is going on may be retaliatory based upon her raising those issues over time. The process that's being used here, first requesting from Prescott certain emails, then requesting those particular items from Councilmember Hatch, seems to us to be designed, if you will, kind of as a setup. And some of the things are taken out of context and seem to be designed or intended to tarnish her reputation. If it's not a federal case, then why are so many exhibits being presented, and why is this being presented this way? I'm going to show you what happened. I'm going to show you what the emails demonstrate, and I'm going to show you some problems in the fact process and what's being alleged against Councilmember Hatch. This is what happens. Emails are obtained from Prescott without her knowledge by the mayor. 4 public records requests are issued. I'll go through the facts on those. Her ability to respond is sabotaged. She really has no opportunity for hearing. There's nothing in the code that allows that. And certainly getting the complaint on the day before the last hearing wasn't intended to provide due process for her. There are multiple versions of the complaint that's been drafted against Mrs. Hatch, and I'll show you those. There's 2. The censure is placed on the agenda against Mrs. Hatch. That's what happens. Okay. Here are some problems with the complaint. There are 2 complaints that we have records of. One is alleging falsifying public records, which is a completely different issue than not providing certain records. Allegations regarding the records were not consistent with the actual records request. Allegations do not reflect the issues with email communications and transmitting the document to Mrs. Hatch. Council members McKee and Councilmember Hatch agree as to the one they responded on, in fact, that no documents actually exist. So you're comparing apples to oranges, and I'll show you why. Here's the 2 complaints. First one says falsification of public records. That is Mayor Marley. The second one deals with falsely stating she did not have those records. Here's your resolution. She did respond to the 2 public records requests by denying any records in her possession. This is where the mistake is made factually. Again, this is a complete, and we're trying to go through this quickly. I didn't realize there was a time limitation, Mr. Vice Mayor, so I'm going to try to proceed quickly. This is the correspondence. This is basically a list of the public records requests. This is what happened on each one of them. Let me show you where the mistakes were made factually. Okay, first of all, there's no procedure in place until 2 weeks ago for actually showing that someone actually got copies of public records. There's no sign-in, so no one knows whether someone's been given them or which ones they've been given. I'll show you why that's germane to the facts and why Councilwoman Hatch did not fabricate or did not falsify as she's being accused of. First public records request was sent by the mayor. It was given to the town's email IT department. There were no records found. It's dated, and you can see it's got a log number. Second public records request is one which Councilmember Hatch did not receive and which there is no signature or sign-in showing that she did. That's the one the mayor is trying to accuse her of falsifying. Third public records request is one which was issued, and you're going to see a copy of that, and there's no login number. Do you see? There's no login number to allow reference to that item in her emails. That's really important. There's another public records request that comes along, and it's one related to the second public records request.
You have 1 minute remaining.
Okay, somebody has added something to that item. Okay. Keep going. So if you want to get to the facts, you're going to see it's messed up. You're going to see this particular thing. She did not receive it. There's even an email the town has that said she did not receive it. And when she's responding to something sent to Lynn, which is the public records request with both she and Councilmember McKee say that they did not receive. And there's a reason to believe that factually because it deals with Lynn, which is only on the third public records request, which is the one with no log number. Here's a few things you know. First, there's no process. You know that, and this is a first. Next, someone decided that the code, which says nothing about censure or sanctions, somehow by guesswork, I suppose, authorizes you to do what the resolution calls for. We know that there's involvement in personal capacity by someone requesting private records from a public official. We know your code does not provide an ability to order another public elected official to do something. We know there's public records laws that apply to that. We know that in the recent past, Lynn has raised issues dealing with contracts.
Got a couple of more words, go ahead and say them to wrap up.
All right, I'm gonna suggest something to you. Here you have an opportunity to take a look at the law, which doesn't exist, and you have a look at the facts, which really support not doing anything with Linda, and you have a chance to focus your energies and engage in things that aren't setups and complaints against each other. And you can focus your energies on the business of the community here, the business of the town of Chino Valley, and you have an opportunity to decide whether or not to engage in rock throwing at Councilmember Hatch or at one another. I would suggest you don't do it. I would suggest the law and facts don't support it. Thank you.
All right. Now the complainant, again, it's your opportunity. You have 5 minutes. At 4 minutes, I will give you I will start when you begin speaking.
I thought you were going to start when I put my little cartoon characters up there. There's way too many things were put up in the last presentation. I'm really not worried about, as I attempted to explain to our council, I'm not worried about what Ms. Hatch had to say or didn't have to say to the folks in Prescott. What I was worried about was I asked for a certain set of emails within a certain set of parameters. As Ms. Hatch's attorney said, Ms. Hatch and Ms. McKee both agreed no documents existed. As I said, I had 4 of them in my hand. As Ms. Hatch's attorney said, this appeared to be somewhat of a setup. Yeah, I had 4 of them in my hand when I wrote and said, I want any documents within these parameters, because I figured if there was 4, there was more likely more. And guess what? When I got the records back from City of Prescott, there was a total of 7. As I said, it's not about what was written in the emails. There was a lot of stuff written in the emails, but what bothered me was when I asked for them, I was told they didn't exist, and I had to prove that they existed, and I still to this day have not received what I feel is a satisfactory answer to my email or to my records request 15205. And if you will, I would encourage you folks to look over this packet. On page 8 of my presentation, Miss Lewis, our town clerk, said also to Linda Hatch, do you have anything responsive to the first records request, 15-02-02 sent to 1015? We all get our records requests, we all get our mail dropped in our mailbox right over there. And I have an email which is outside the 4-minute limit where Miss Hatch said, was asked, do you want another copy, a hard copy of the records request? And she said, let me speak to my attorney first. So like I said, it's not about content, it's about the truth. So, and I yield the rest of my 4 minutes.
You used 2 minutes, 39 seconds. Respondent?
Yeah, if this was about the truth, then we would actually have the chance to really present the truth to you. We've shown you what happened. You guys know from what we just presented to you that you don't have a system, that there's several different emails. There's one that's not dated, and you know that her response in that email that you have is directed to the second one. You can see that factually, and so there is no basis for the ethics complaint at all. You know, what this is a setup. It's not a fair opportunity for her. It's basically a concern to try to, if you will, discredit her as a council member. And you should not do this because you do not have the facts and you do not have the law to do so. You've got a lot of innuendos. If you think there's public peddling and influence peddling, where is it? What you see in those emails is a concern by a council member that is duly elected in Chino Valley to look at what is going on with taxpayer dollars and why services that you're contracting for are not being provided for. And that is the issue that you are seeing. There's no public influence peddling. There's nothing like that. What you're seeing is a council member who is concerned about what's going on with the court system, concerned about the performance of services, concerned about costs that you're paying for something you're not getting and what is going on with the court system. And now you're seeing an opportunity or someone taking an opportunity to try to prevent that council member from exercising what she has sworn to do on behalf of the town of Chino Valley, which is look into what is going on with taxpayer dollars. And if you think that is something that merits censure, I would suggest to you, in fact, it is whistleblowing is the kind of thing that she as a council member had to do, and she has done that, and there is no evidence supporting what's being alleged against her. There are no facts, and you have no law supporting this particular action. I would suggest open meeting law, public records law is governed by state law. I would suggest state law could take care of this. There's a process for that. Right now, what you're trying to do essentially is to cast aspersions on her which are not supported by the facts. And I would ask you to consider strongly whether you want to take this kind of action against council members, whether rocks should be thrown like this, or whether you want to focus on what actually should happen, which is take a look at your IGA, see what's going on, investigate that, decide whether you want to keep it or not. That's what she was asking you to do initially with her conversations with Gene Wilcox. So that's the real issue. This other issue is not supported by the facts, and it's certainly not supported by the records that you have. Thank you.
You have used 2 minutes, 28 seconds. Thank you. Next step is council discussion. Is there any discussion from the council members? Any questions, clarification?
It looks to me like so much that we always see in the facts of laws, attorneys, and so on and so forth, that you can use wordsmithing and legalese to make it okay for someone to go out on their own and slander people and take business in their own hands that should be council business with, unbeknownst to myself in particular. I'm not happy about that. And there's outright lies here. But I guess that's okay, because you can wordsmith it so that it's good.
Any other comments?
I just have one comment to go ahead, and if Ms. Hatch was finding this information out, how come it was never presented to us as a council, that there's things wrong at the time? I don't remember that happening.
I have 2 minutes left, may I respond?
Vice Mayor, I think we're getting off
You're getting off,
of
so
the
we'll just-
issue
we'll just
of the
regard that.
complaint. So
I have 2 minutes left.
Well, then we'll also have to have the mayor have 2 minutes, so I think we'll just let it go the way it is. We'll just let it go the way it is. The next action for me is the recommended action, and let me read the recommended action. The recommended action is to adopt Resolution 15-1055 censuring Councilmember Hatch for refusing to comply with certain records requests which, when such records did in fact exist, and demanding that the Councilmember Hatch comply with said request by furnishing any missing documents to the Chino Valley Town Attorney within 10 business days. And yeah,
Can we address council on this?
you can address his counsel?
Ours?
Yes, you can ask our counsel.
I know it's a lot to digest at one time, but we just heard Ms. Hatch's attorney tell us his views on this. I would like to know from you the fact that he's claiming that we have no law in place, that what is on our agenda right now is illegal to do. Can you answer to that?
yes, you actually do have no procedure in place. Your code, because you did adopt this procedure, but your ordinance adopting the procedure is not yet effective. So in order to provide a fair process, I believe that's what you're trying to do now by having this format for your discussion. What your code requires currently is that the council address the complaint within 60 days of the date it's received. So how the council addresses that is pretty much to the discretion of the council, which is what you're doing. You, after receiving that complaint, you had it on an agenda, you continued it so that you could get a process. You had it on another agenda, and I believe, and along with that, you adopted the procedure as will be codified in 3510. That's not in effect, but I don't think, it's not illegal for you to have this hearing format tonight. It is not.
So if we, just to make sure I'm hearing you right, if we make a decision on this tonight, even though this has been put in place after the fact, we're still within a proper jurisdiction of council
Yes.
operations?
Yes. And one other point that Ms. Hatch's attorney made is that there is no authorization or mention of censure in your code. That is correct. But it is something that has really no legal effect other than to kind of say to the person who you find violated the code of ethics. This isn't a legal thing. This is the code of ethics.
Okay.
So it's not, it doesn't have the effect of, say, a criminal penalty or a fine. You could not fine her, but you can censure her because censuring says, we don't like what you did, we think it was wrong. That's the effect.
Thank you.
I'm asking for a motion. Do Do I have a motion to recommend or adopt Resolution 15-1005?
Yes, I'll make that
1055?
motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no.
No.
Motion carries. Okay, now we're going to go on to item B. And item B will be the first, let me read item B. Consideration of possible action to address the complaint filed by Councilmember Linda Hatch against Mayor Chris Marley pursuant to Town Code, Chapter 35, Code of Ethics, Section 3504, Conduct in Public Office. We will use the same procedure that we used before. So first of all, the complainant will have 10 minutes. I will let them know at 9 minutes when they can close up. Councilmember Hatch, you have 10 minutes. Or your attorney, if you want to yield to your attorney.
Say the record speaks for itself. I made a request that, having knowing that Mayor Marley, having knowing him sometime before, in fact, I supported him in the first election. I know what goes on with he and his family. I knew that his wife had emails. I requested all personal emails about me from his personal system. You can see on the documents he's denying having any, and yet the town system picked up an email from his wife about me to Mayor Marley, which he then forwarded on to the town clerk. Thank you.
Respondent, you have 10 minutes. I will notify you at 9 minutes.
The email about Councilmember Hatch, which you have in your packet before you, is actually a copy of the resolution which you folks just voted on a few moments ago. Because I type even slower than I talk, I had my wife type up the resolution and send it to the town. The resolution is in your hands. The fact that it came from my wife's computer to the town, there was no attempt at hiding it. There was no attempt at modifying it. It was simply sent to Jamie and Liz so that they could get it started into the process. I know this is a deep legal term, and I should have my own attorney to say it, but this is what we call bogus in a lot of countries. So thank you.
Okay. Complainant again?
It's far from bogus. He lied. He outright lied that he had nothing in his personal emails about me. He could have easily produced it. It came from his wife's email, and I know that there are more. The mayor is lying to you, and you see the documents there. That email came from his wife's email, and he was asked to produce it, and he failed to do so. He said there were none. And in fact, it came from his wife's email. No matter whether it had something attached that you have now, he lied. He should be censured under the same reason that I was censured.
Respondent?
At least we get our aerobics in. No, I hold to it. It was bogus. Like I said, you guys have the email. There was no attempt at hiding anything. So anyway, it's all yours. Do as you wish. Okay.
Any clarification from the council? Any questions?
I believe that the email in question, the resolution, was actually received by the town clerk 7 days, if I'm not mistaken, before a records request was made. It was public. I'm finding it hard to understand why this is being held in the same gesture as what we talked about in the previous item. It was already public. It was out there. So,
Any other responses?
That's fine to me.
Do I have a motion to approve the censure of Mayor Marley? If you vote approved, it'll be a yea vote. If you vote not to support the complaint, it'll be a no or a nay vote.
I'll make the motion to
Is
go
there a
ahead.
second? Is there a second to the motion? I second the motion then, so we can have a vote.
Okay.
Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember McKee?
Yes.
Councilmember Turner? Councilmember Best?
Nay.
And Vice Mayor Croft?
Nay. Motion fails. We'll take a 5-minute recess.
Yeah, I'm so alone without my gavel. We can,
Fearless leader, are we ready to go ahead?
can I have my gavel back?
Yes, you can. I don't want your damn Josh.
Mike says I shouldn't be allowed to have it.
Yeah, well, as long as you don't want to do one of these co-wax.
What's on this side? Yes, one left.
Two cases.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I'm with you. I fully understand. This is pretty cool. We've got so three, the only, and I was gonna say Rob, the guy who stood up and spoke here, he may be a preliminary, I'm not sure. But that's pretty neat. That's pretty neat. Yes. Yeah, John.
Why not?
I have his John's. Victor. That's him. John Victor. Yeah. Do you need his phone number? Okay. Thank you, Chief. That's good. No, I sure haven't. I've heard he's had some awful stuff. Yeah. Do not know. All right. Let's go ahead and call it back in. We got, our 5 minutes are up for certain. Yeah. Okay. We'll go ahead and call the meeting back into order. The Vice Mayor gave me my gavel back, so we're done with the recess. Item C is a public hearing regarding an application from Noel Arturo Flores for a new Series 12 restaurant liquor license for Arturo's Mexican Restaurant located at 900 South State Route 89, Chino Valley. And I believe we have to have a motion to
I
hold
move
the
that we
public
hold a
hearing.
public hearing.
Okay.
Second it.
We have a motion and 2 seconds to hold the public hearing. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We are now holding a public hearing. Did anyone from our audience wish to speak to item C, the liquor license for Arturo, or for Arturo's? Yes, sir.
Taking me 3 minutes to get here. My name is Lee Paul. I live in the town of Chino Valley. And thank you for this opportunity, Mayor and Council. I would just like to say that I don't drink hard liquor unless I'm alone or with somebody. And but I do drink like beer with my Mexican food. And due to the fact that Arturo's is enlarging their business, it's going to increase our taxes, our revenues, and so I would recommend, from a personal matter, from my own personal belief, that we should approve this. We're not a town of drunks. We're well-mannered people. We're all suburbanites. So thank you very much for this opportunity.
Yes, sir. All right, thank you. And Mr. Paul spoke to increased revenues. Are there any others that wish to speak? Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. I'm Michelle Flores. I'm the Mrs. Arturo couldn't make it tonight. It's Taco Tuesday, and it's kind of crazy. But I just did want to take this opportunity to thank the town of Chino Valley for giving us the opportunity to serve the community. We've really enjoyed it, and we are very, very excited to be able to have another opportunity to, yes, expand our business, thanks to you all. And yeah, what's Mexican food without a good old nice ice cold margarita? So thank you very much for your time and your patronage. We really appreciate it.
Excellent, thank you. Okay, we've heard from Lee Paul and Michelle Flores. Anyone else wish to speak to the item? Okay.
Motion to close the hearing?
Okay, we have a motion to close the
Second.
hearing and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. The public hearing is now closed. Our second part is consideration and possible action to recommend approval for a new Series 12 liquor license application for Arturo's Mexican Restaurant.
Motion to recommend the Arizona State Liquor Board that it grant a new Series 12 liquor license application for Arturo's Mexican Restaurant located at 900 South State Road 89, Chino Valley.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on item C. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Let's
All
get
right.
one back. Yay.
I think we're going to lose half of our audience here. All right. We're hurrying on us. It's Taco Tuesday. We know that. Item D, consideration and possible action to award construction contract to CLM Earth Movers LLC in an amount not to exceed $812,762.70 for the construction of two box culverts and channel improvements along Little Doggy Draw and Chino Meadows Units 2 and 5. Funding of $800,000 to come from Yavapai County Drainage District accounted for in the Capital Improvements Fund, with the balance of $12,762.70 to come from the HERF Fund. Mr. Gritman.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. This is a long time in coming. For the last 3 years, we've been working with Yavapai County Flood Control District on a series of drainage projects. This is the second of 3 projects that the county had committed to funding. However, with their budget cuts, We've had to split this project into a series of phases, and we're not able to build all three projects as quickly as what we were anticipating. In short, the complete engineer's estimate on this entire project was $1.3 million. And because of cuts coming from the flood control district, we've had to split this project into two phases, of which the flood control has funded the town $800,000, which is a sizable chunk. However, the bid for the project came in at $812,000. So what we decided to do was cover the paving costs and the box culvert portions underneath Porcupine Pass that are associated with the roadway itself to come out of her funds to the tune of $12,000 and some change, as you see explained in the agenda item. And working with Michael, our assistant director here, we actually believe that we've done some value engineering that we can get the earthwork for the entire project done for the $812,000 and do channel improvements where we need to and provide scour protection where we need to, and actually hopefully deliver pretty much the entire project for $812,000 rather than $1.3 million. Just giving you an example of some value engineering that we bring to the table on getting our capital projects stretched as far as we possibly can to meet the needs that the citizens have. Chino Meadows Units 5 has flooded 4 or 5 times in the 9 years that I've been here, and this project is sorely needed and will provide the relief that they're looking for. So with that, I'll answer any questions.
Before any of our council ask questions, I've got one. You had told me some time back about some folks, I believe it was in Chino Meadows 5, that when it would flood, they would open their front door and open their back door, and the water would just go straight through the house.
Evelyn Munjoy has photographs to this day of water flowing through her house, yes.
And this will hopefully, is this
will
going to
fix
help
it.
alleviate part of that?
This will fix it. We can actually convey the entire 100-year storm event through this channel that we're constructing here, along with the 2 box culverts and the channel improvements along Little Doggy Draw. We will actually stop the 100-year storm from topping the Peavine Trail.
Okay, excellent.
So
Excellent.
that's what this project will do.
Questions from this side? None? Okay, questions from this side? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Sounds like a good deal.
That'll be some good news for some folks.
Yes.
But it'll cut down on our wildlife. We won't have any more duck ponds in people's houses. So, the chair would now entertain a motion.
Motion to award a construction contract to CLM Earth Movers LLC in an amount not to exceed $812,762.70 for the construction of 2 box culverts and channel improvements along the Little Doggy Draw and Chino Meadows Unit 2 and 5.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Excellent. Moving on to item E, informational hearing, consideration, and possible action to approve 1 wireless communications facilities project 2015 master agreement with Sun State Towers LLC and Pinnacle Consulting Incorporated, and a wireless communications site lease with Sun State Towers LLC related to installation and leasing of 2 wireless communications towers with town dishes to be located on them to provide enhanced wireless capabilities between Town Hall and the Recreation Center. The previously proposed tower at the library/North Campus will now be a separate project. Fiscal impact, the town will receive $1,400 per month in lease fees. And I believe we have an addendum in our packet that's been given to us. This is presented by Council Members Best and Turner. Which one of you fellows would like to speak to it?
Lund did most of the work. I'll let him talk.
Well, we got this brought to us about 6 weeks ago, and there were a lot of questions. And first of all, I'd like to thank the public. We had 3 people that I can remember, Norm Freeman, Dan Carlton, and John Victor?
John Victor.
John
yes.
Victor, that all stood up, had concerns, had comments, and so at that point in time, we set it aside and went to work on finding some answers. And they ranged from private property owners being able to put up a 100-foot tower to visibility from people's homes and so on and so forth. And over the last month, working with staff and other people that know about this kind of business, we've come to where we're at today and feeling like it's a very good project and the best for Chino Valley.
Excellent. Ms. Mayday, if you would, it's your presentation now.
Yes, good evening, Mayor and Council. Before you, you have the wireless project as Councilmember Turner described. We brought this project to you beginning in January of 2015 for feedback at a study session. It's been before council on the March 10th when it was denied, and March 24th when it was postponed. Councilmember Turner, Councilmember Best, and staff have been working to reconfigure the project. This is the new site plan at the rec center, where the previous version had the, there we go. Where the previous version had, the original version had the wireless tower at the monopole at this end of the building. It's now been moved back here into the Public Works storage yard at the rec center. There's been no change to the site plan for the town hall site. That remains the same. In terms of what's been changed, at the recreation building location, Pinnacle will install a 100-foot monopole for Verizon wireless use. Like we just discussed, we've moved the pole to accommodate the residents in the area. We will be given an 80-foot centerline location on the monopole at no cost. Pinnacle has agreed to install antennas and cabling and conduit necessary to terminate signal run into the building at no cost to the town. We're responsible from everything from the wall inward. And then the town will provide or pay for materials necessary for Pinnacle to accomplish these tasks. So dishes, wire, all of that kind of stuff we will be providing to Pinnacle. Pinnacle will be providing $700 a month rent to the town. For the land lease, Pinnacle will provide $300 a month for co-location rents to the town for each subsequent collator to the site after the first locator, which will be Verizon. The lease will run for 5 consecutive 5-year terms, and there's a 10% escalator on all of the rents beginning at each 5-year term so that we can keep pace with inflation. And the Pinnacle towers will allow the town's contractor to align and make the adjustments necessary so that the antenna can talk to each other. For the town hall, the Pinnacle will again install a 100-foot monopole. We again get the 80-foot center line at no cost. Pinnacle will again install antennas and cabling from the tower to the town hall building, and the town is responsible for running any cable from that point onward. And the town will, of course, again, provide all the materials. Pinnacle will provide $700 a month rent to the town for the land leased upon the installation complete of the first wireless provider. So that means there's no rent until they actually have somebody other than the town using that site. After that, each additional user is $300 a month. Again, the lease runs five consecutive 5-year terms, and again, the 10% escalator. If there's any other questions?
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor and members of the council, I, as town attorney with Chad Ward and his attorney this morning had a telephonic conference to make some last-minute revisions. And one of the things that we changed was the term of the lease. And it is now set to be a 25-year initial term with 5 additional 5-year consecutive renewal periods. So that would be a change. And there were other changes also that are reflected in the red line that was part of the addendum today. But that is the primary one. It would just be a longer-term lease.
Okay.
And one of the concerns that Sun State had is that this is a huge investment for them.
Mhm.
And in order to recoup their investment, it will take them at least 10 years and probably longer.
Okay.
So we were agreeable. This is not uncommon for the industry, so.
You bet. We ran into that with the Model Airplane Club insofar as they didn't want to sink a bunch of money into paving and then lose their lease, so that's understandable. Are there any questions from council on that? Yes, ma'am.
Would it be possible to table this till the next council meeting, so we all have, since we didn't get this contract until, the addendum until right when we walked in tonight instead of yesterday, give us any time to check it over. I'd like to read it and digest some of the stuff in it.
Right. There's a suggestion to table this till next meeting. I would rather, if we can, since it's been brought up like 23 times now, if we could have Ms. Smiley go through it, would that help satisfy some of your questions?
Well,
She said the major change was the
There are all these-
25-year.
there are all these
lease.
pages with, strikeouts and
Mhm.
additions and things, and you can't
Yes,
read
ma'am.
it and digest it
Oh.
in 3 minutes.
Okay, cool. Ms. Smiley?
Okay, most of the revisions that the red lines that you're talking about were in what was originally in the packet, the agreement that was originally in the packet. Those, I'd be happy to walk you through them. Primarily, this is the same lease that you saw before, when you considered it way back when, except that we now have, some of the red lines are just things like calling the town hall site the TH site. So there are things like that. We changed the commencement date of the lease itself to be effective, the first day of the month when Sun State starts construction of the project, or December 31st, whichever occurs earlier. So December 1st of 2015. So it will become effective no later than December 1st, 2015. Then on page 2, paragraph 2, in 2.1 and 2.2, those are the rent provisions, which were not in the original agreement. They state that basically the rent for the recreation building site, which is now the RB site, will be $700 per month. The rent for the town hall site will not start until after a wireless service provider attaches, and that after that, the rent will be $700 per month. Then there's a provision about additional rent for co-locators, and that's $300 a month. That's paragraph 2.3. The rent will adjust by 10% on the first month of each 5-year renewal term. And then we struck out additional rent for new facilities because that made no sense. That was just if they replaced or upgraded or used more space of the area that they're renting, they would have to pay more rent, but we decided that wasn't really fair. Let's see, then there's additional consideration for the lease, and that's in lieu of rental payments at the town hall site until installation of a wireless service provider. Sun State shall construct and install for the benefit of Chino Valley certain communications equipment that on both of the sites. Those are the town dishes to be installed at the 80-foot level, as well as the additional conduit. Then we struck the paragraph that was in the original agreement, 2.2, because that dealt with the tower at the library, which is not part of this agreement. Then there's some minor edits. We took the, let's see, paragraph 4.6, skipping ahead. We took the new facilities and made it a matter of notification. They're going to tell the town when they upgrade and put new facilities that are materially larger than what was originally there. So we just put it in there as a notification requirement rather than you're going to pay us more. Then on the next page, there was a typo. The next page, minor edit. Then paragraph 9.3, we had originally wanted them to tell us when there was a change in control of their company. We don't really care.
Good.
Let's see, then some minor edits again. We changed paragraph 10.2 for remedies in the event of lessee default, so say Sun State defaults. We're limiting it to actual damages rather than all detriment proximately caused, because all detriment proximately caused is a really hard thing to determine. Actual damages is much easier. Let's see, then on paragraph 11.1, voluntary termination, this was at their request that we took out. If the facilities are destroyed or damaged so that they can't use them, then they can get out of the lease. They don't want that, so we took it out. Voluntary termination by Chino Valley, which was paragraph 11.2. This we struck because of their concern about the town being able to terminate basically before they've recovered. They've had time to recover their costs. It would be very expensive for them to relocate their facilities once it's installed on town property. And out of consideration for that, we are binding the town for the first 25 years, as long as they're in conformance with the agreement. And then for voluntary termination after that first 25-year term, the lease can be terminated by the town without any further liability to lessee, but they have to give 1 year's notice, and that's pretty standard as well.
Okay.
And then,
It's pretty much nothing till
yeah,
page 21.
there's pretty much nothing left.
Yeah, page 21
There
just
are,
says either
on
party.
the exhibits, on Exhibit B, we struck out the, that Exhibit B for the people in the audience is consideration for the lease. And we had originally, way back when we were doing the library tower, we had the library tower as part of the consideration. But since that's not part of the agreement anymore, that's gone. And we also took out of there that they will install and align the town dishes. The town will do the alignment themselves. Sun State will install. That's it.
And you were comfortable working through all this,
Oh, yeah.
correct? Okay, good, thank you. Are there any other questions on council's behalf?
Thank you.
Oh, you bet. Don't like to sign anything. We don't know what we're doing, but it seemed like we could make it through fairly expediently. So thank you, and thank you, Ms. Smiley. Do you have any questions, Mr.
No.
West? Okay, great. Okay.
I'd like to
Cheers.
commend Pinnacle Towers for their patience in allowing us to work with them and the things that working this thing out. Thanks a lot. We appreciate it.
You bet. It's
And
hard.
then I'm going to make a motion.
Okay, we're ready for a
Motion to approve Wireless Communication and Facilities Project 2015, master agreement with Sun State Towers LLC and Pinnacle Consulting, installation contract for Wire Communication Facilities Project 2015, with Pinnacle Consulting and Two Wireless Communication site lease with Sun State Tower LLC.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And the next item, item F, is consideration and possible action to authorize the mayor to sign Form CD 511, certification regarding lobbying, Standard Form 424D, assurances, construction programs, and Standard Form LLL, disclosure of lobbying activities related to the Economic Development Administration or EDA grant award. Ruth Mayday will be presenting that. And Ms. Mayday, I read through it, and I only know one congressman, and I didn't lobby him on this. So I think we're in good
Again, these
shape.
are some of the standard documents. These are actually called out in the application process, that we will have to complete these, but they ask that we not send them in advance because they just run out of room to store all the paper. So basically what these are these documents say that we will not use any of the dollars awarded to lobby Congress for more dollars, that if we do any lobbying, we're going to tell them. And the construction assurance basically says that we will abide by the construction assurances and the regulations in 24 CFR Part 85 and other parts for procurement, which basically is follow our procurement code.
Okay, excellent. I wanted our audience to know, I found this sort of ironic. At the top of the forms that they have me sign, it says that the public reporting burden for this collection of information is estimated to average 15 minutes per response, and it's sent to me by the Office of Management and Budget Paperwork Reduction Project. This is the government has an office of paperwork reduction. I found that ironic. I didn't know how the rest of you felt about that. Did anyone have any questions for Ms. Mayday on this?
No.
No? Okay. I believe on page 146, it goes down all the stuff that we have to comply with environmentally, the EPA, Wetlands Protection, Coastal Zone Management Act, Clean Air Implementation, Endangered Species Act, and all that, and wild and scenic rivers in case one runs through Old Home Manor. So that's basically what we'll be saying, is that we'll comply with all that and that we won't lobby. If there's no questions, the chair would entertain a motion.
Motion to authorize the mayor to sign Standard Form 242 DLLL and CD 511 required for the final award of the $1,600,074 EDA grant.
All right. Thank you. First,
Yay.
we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Oh,
Thank
item.
It wasn't just me. There was a lot of help. There were a lot of parts to this.
Yeah,
that
a lot of moving parts.
Finance, engineering.
Yeah.
This was not just me.
You bet. Oh,
To everybody that's been involved.
you
It's
bet.
great.
Yeah, thank you. Item G, consideration and possible action to approve an agreement between the town of Chino Valley and Arizona Game and Fish Department to accept a grant of $16,550 with 50/50 match in kind from town to make improvements to the shooting range at Old Home Manor. And I asked Miss Mayday before the meeting, it said that we were supposed to do a culture survey, and so I asked her exactly what was involved in that, and it was to check for artifacts. Is that not correct? Okay.
Yes, and rather than doing just this specific site for just this range, we had them do the balance of the property covered by the lease and some adjoining property. So should we come back again with another project in that area, we already have that done. And
Excellent.
the Fish and Game did, or Game and Fish actually did include a reimbursement for that because that requirement came in after the monies had been awarded.
Okay, excellent, excellent. Are there any questions regarding this? This is for the extension of the 200-yard range? All right, the chair would entertain a motion.
Move to approve the agreement between the town of Chino Valley and the Arizona Game and Fish Department and accept $16,550 in grant funds.
Okay, we have a motion and 2 seconds. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Consideration and possible action regarding the process for an internal or external recruitment to fill the position of town magistrate. And I wanted to explain to our council, I'm the one who put in the recommended action to instruct staff to begin an internal recruitment process. If we go to we can do either one. If we go to an external recruitment process, because the clock is already ticking on our 90-day limit, we'll have to instruct our HR department to get those bids out there and really rock and roll on it. Or if we choose to do an internal bid, then the process will be much slower or much easier because it'll be within the town. So does anybody have any questions on that? I believe Ms. Watts is still, or Ms. Gritman is still here. Do you guys have any questions for her on that? Okay. All right. Our town manager, you look like you had a question. Okay, great. All right, the chair would entertain a motion.
Motion to instruct staff to begin an internal recruitment process to fill the magistrate position and provide direction to staff regarding the process.
Okay.
Second.
We have a motion and 2 seconds. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Who has not moved to adjourn in a long time?
Make a motion to adjourn.
All right.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.